I found out my father paid my pregnant girlfriend $250,000 to disappear and then told me she died in childbirth. But 10 years later I ran into her sister and discovered my daughter was alive the whole time. 10 years ago, I was a 22-year-old college senior, dating my girlfriend Olivia for almost 3 years. We were young, but we were in love and making plans for our future together. Then Olivia got pregnant. It wasn't planned, but after the initial shock wore off, we were excited. We told our families, started preparing, and even picked out names. My father, however, was furious. He had always been controlling, with specific expectations for my life that didn't include becoming a father at 22. He demanded Olivia get an abortion, and when we refused, he threatened to cut me off financially. No more tuition, no job at the family business after graduation, nothing. I told him we would manage on our own. I would finish my degree, find work somewhere else, and we would make it work. Looking back, I was naively optimistic, but I was determined to stand by Olivia and our baby. Then, when Olivia was about 6 months pregnant, I came home from class one day to find our apartment empty. Her clothes were gone, her toiletries missing, even the ultrasound pictures we had pinned to the refrigerator had disappeared. There was just a note on the kitchen counter: "I can't do this anymore. Please don't try to find me." I was devastated. I called her phone repeatedly, but it was disconnected. I reached out to her friends, but they claimed they didn't know where she had gone. I even drove to her parents' house 2 hours away, but they refused to see me, only shouting through the door that I had done enough damage. For weeks, I searched for her. I missed classes, barely slept, and lost weight from the stress. My father's attitude changed completely during this time. He was suddenly supportive, telling me she obviously wasn't the right girl if she could abandon me like this, and that I was better off focusing on finishing my degree and moving forward with my life. Then, about 3 months after Olivia disappeared, I received a call from her mother. Her voice was cold, filled with hatred. She told me Olivia had died in childbirth, and the baby, our daughter, had died with her. She blamed me for not being there, for driving Olivia away, and forbade me from attending the funeral. The call ended with her telling me she never wanted to hear from me again. I collapsed. The guilt was overwhelming. If I had been a better partner, if I had made Olivia feel more secure, if I had somehow protected her from my father's hostility, maybe she would have stayed. Maybe she and our daughter would still be alive. My father found me in that state, drunk and despondent. He took control of the situation, telling me there was nothing I could have done, that sometimes tragic things happen, and that the best way to honor Olivia's memory was to make something of my life. He convinced me to return to school, finish my degree, and join the family business as planned. For the next decade, that's exactly what I did. I buried myself in work, avoided serious relationships, and tried to numb the pain and guilt I carried. Every year on what would have been my daughter's birthday, I would visit a small memorial I had created in a local park, just a bench with a simple plaque dedicated to O&L, forever loved. My father never mentioned Olivia or the baby again. It was as if that chapter of my life had been erased, existing only in my private grief. Whenever I brought them up, he would quickly change the subject, telling me it wasn't healthy to dwell on the past. Then, 10 months ago, everything changed. I was at a conference in a city about 3 hours from home. After the day's events, I went to a restaurant near my hotel for dinner. As I was waiting for my food, I noticed a woman across the room who looked strikingly familiar. It took me a moment to place her, but then I realized, it was Olivia's younger sister, Emily. I hadn't seen Emily since before Olivia disappeared. She had been a teenager then, but there was no mistaking her. I hesitated, unsure if I should approach her. Would she even want to speak to me? Would she blame me for her sister's death like their mother did? But something compelled me to try. As I approached her table, she looked up and recognition dawned on her face. She didn't seem angry or disgusted, just shocked. I asked if I could sit down, and to my surprise, she nodded. Our conversation started awkwardly. I expressed my condolences for Olivia, told her how often I thought about her and the baby. Emily looked confused, then suspicious. "What are you talking about?" she asked. "Olivia isn't dead." The world seemed to stop. I couldn't process what she was saying. Emily explained that not only was Olivia alive, but so was my daughter, a 9-year-old girl named Lily who lived with Olivia in that very city. I must have looked like I was having a breakdown, because Emily quickly ushered me out of the restaurant to a quiet park nearby. There, she told me everything. Olivia had never intended to leave me. My father had approached her privately, offering her $250,000 to disappear, enough money to start a new life somewhere else and provide for the baby. He told her I knew about the arrangement and had agreed it was for the best, that I wasn't ready to be a father and wanted to focus on my career. Olivia didn't believe him at first, but he showed her emails that appeared to be for me, expressing relief that she would be leaving and gratitude that I wouldn't have to deal with the responsibility of a child. The emails were forgeries, of course, but Olivia had no way of knowing that. Heartbroken and feeling betrayed, she took the money and moved away. She had her mother call me with the story about her death, believing I had already abandoned her and the baby and would be relieved to have a clean break. Emily only knew the truth because she had reconnected with Olivia a few years later, against their mother's wishes. I sat there, stunned, as Emily showed me pictures on her phone of a smiling little girl with my eyes on Olivia's smile. My daughter. Alive. Growing up without me because of an elaborate lie orchestrated by my own father. The anger and grief that washed over me in that moment was unlike anything I had ever experienced. 10 years. I had lost 10 years with my daughter. I had mourned them both, carried the guilt of believing I had somehow caused their deaths, while my father knew the truth the entire time. Emily was cautious but sympathetic. She agreed to arrange a meeting with Olivia, but warned me that it wouldn't be easy. Olivia had built a life believing I had wanted nothing to do with her or our child. She had remarried a few years ago to a man who had been raising Lily as his own. Undoing that narrative would be painful for everyone involved. I returned to the hotel in a daze, called the office to say I was extending my trip for personal reasons, and spent the night alternating between rage at my father and anxious anticipation about potentially meeting my daughter for the first time. The next day, I met Olivia at a coffee shop. Seeing her again after all these years was surreal. She looked different, older, more confident, but still unmistakably the woman I had once planned to spend my life with. She didn't bring Lily, which was probably wise given the circumstances. Our conversation was tense at first. I showed her the real emails from that time period, saved in my cloud storage, proving I had never agreed to any arrangement with my father. I told her about receiving the call about her supposed death, about the years I spent grieving, about the memorial bench I visited every year.